views and opinions of the following show are those of the host and the host only, and not those of Heidelberg Broadcasting, its ownership, or management.
Hello, good evening. Hello, beautiful people. Hello, welcome. Happy Monday to you. Welcome, everyone, to the mighty 1470 WVOL AM. WVOL AM. And I am very excited this evening because it's Monday night. Welcome back, all my great listeners and followers. I am so excited to be here this evening with you. And I hope that you're in your car or home safely from work today. And if you're in your car, I'm excited that you're able to hear this segment that we're having today. Welcome to RFD Talk. And I am Robin F. David, your host. And I am excited today because one of the things my mission in life is to help people to brighten, to believe in direct wholeness, and help people live in their truth. And living in your truth is learning how to have healthier, stronger, healthier relationships, family life and lifestyle, inspiration, spiritual growth, and personal development. And on the RFD, on the RFD talk, we will talk about health, relationships, family relationships, lifestyle, inspiration, and beauty. So today, our topic today is mindfulness and enter calm and joy. Enter calm and joy. And that we'll have a guest today that will be teaching us what it means to have more inner calm and more joy in our life. And I was thinking about our topic today being mindful, full of joy and inner calmness. We are living in a time where there's a lot of things that are changing and happening so quickly in front of us, from our job, the way we work from home, or way we're working with our families, or way we're doing things. And today our guests will be giving us some ways to create inner calm and more inner joy. So could you imagine your life after going through tragedy and trauma and all the things we have experienced in the pandemic and the COVID in the last year and a half? All those things that kind of uprooted us in certain ways and kind of has us sometimes in full of anxiety and anxious, and sometimes it can also feel heavy with the life things that we are facing in our everyday life. So I don't want to hold us any longer because I definitely want to inspire you to embrace, love, and nurture yourself. And one of the ways is I will be bringing experts weekly here every Monday at 6 p.m. to inspire you to be the best version of yourself. So today's guest of our show, she's in the green room, and I can't wait to bring in this beautiful, amazing diamond. She is such a woman of character and greatness. And I call her my Vanguard sister. Her and I met about 6 years ago, probably a little over 6 years ago. And I was in a situation and I was living in a very uncalm situation. At the time, some of you don't know this about RFD. But what happened was I experienced in 2015 some trauma that really, really had my inwardness out of calmness, and I was not in a place of joy. And the day I met her, I had no calmness and no joy, but she came in my life with her calmness and her joy and inspired me to be a better me along my journey of healing my emotional wellness. At the time, I lost my youngest son to gun violence. But since that day, I have been practicing mindfulness, and I am so looking forward to finding out more about how to continue practicing mindfulness and what mindfulness means. So, no further ado, we want to bring on Janae. Janae Johnson and let her tell us more about. She is a thought leader and a founder of the, and so she's going to bring it. So let's bring her in, and so she can tell us more about who she is and what she does for us. Welcome, Janae. Hello, hello.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Hello, Memphis.
Yes, and we're Memphis, and we're in Greater Nashville though. But
Greater Nashville. I don't know how I got that all messed up.
it's all about the Tennessee right now. We're here in
It's
Tennessee.
all about the Tennessee. And
Yes,
I was in Nashville. I had a great time in Nashville.
yes, and we're glad that you did enjoy us here. Come on back anytime. Next time, maybe when you're in Nashville, you can come into the studio and join us here at the studio. I was telling them a little bit about you and how you and I met, but I definitely want you to tell us more about what it means to have mindfulness and inner calm and joy, inner calmness and joy, and definitely tell us a little bit about how you got on the path of your Joy Collective story. You tell us more about how this journey evolved for you.
Yes, thank you so much, Robin. It's beautiful to be with you and all the beautiful people in Nashville. Let me get my location right.
Yes,
My name,
tell us where you're coming from today. Where you
yes, I
talking
will.
to me from?
Well, my name is Janae Johnson, and I'm coming to you from Oakland, California, by way of New York, and happy to be with you. And my journey actually into studying and teaching mindfulness started on my own path, my own path. First of all, my own spiritual journey. We grew up in the church. I have a Christ centered faith, and we know that the sacred text tells us to be still and know that I am God. And so the whole notion of being still and learning to cultivate quietness was not new to me. But as I continue to grow and learn about mindfulness, which is really a word that means present, being present, being present in mind, body, and surroundings. When you can just stop being distracted or on autopilot, but you are really front and focused present. And I was finding in my life as I was raising my son, who's now a young adult, but especially when he was a teenager, I was finding I was being really hyper vigilant about his safety. And so I would call him on his cell phone. Where are you? He was like, Mom, I'm on the bus. Well, where's the bus? How many more stops? I was just so anxious. And I thought, you know what? This way of being is not healthy for him. And it's definitely not healthy for me. And I learned more about what it is to be mindful, how to develop and cultivate inner quiet through one of the local doctors here, Dr. Frank Staggers, who brought what he calls quiet sitting into the West Oakland Clinic. And so I took that and I brought that into the program that I was leading at the time for pregnant women and new moms. And when they would come in for their group education, the first thing we would do is lower the lights and just have people just take a breath. You can take a deep breath with me right now, wherever you are. Take a deep breath and just settle down. Just disconnect for a moment from the hecticness of the day, whatever it took for them to get into the room, and and bring into their bodies a sense of settledness and calmness. And that is ushered in through the breath. The breath, when we breathe deeply, try it again, just breathe deeply. Take a deep breath in and exhale out. It's a simple sigh, right? When we breathe like that with some consistency, what that does is it activates in the body's calming response. It tells the body, put the brakes on, slow down, slow down from the activation. Ooh, calm down. And this power of the breath is really a tool in learning to be mindful, in learning to be present, in learning to disconnect from the myriad of distractions that are out there pulling your attention, whether it's our bills, our financial situations, whether it's the COVID-19 and all of the circumstances that surround it, whether it's issues of racism, whether it's issues of social justice, whether it's how we pick up our phones. The research tells us we pick up our phones 85 times a day. There is a real vying for our attention in the world of commercials. People want our attention. Our attention is worth a lot of money, but our attention is also valuable to us. If we are not really learning how to attend, listen to our bodies, listen to what's happening in our minds, listen to what's going on in the environment, we don't bring our full selves there. We are not bringing our full selves into our love lives, into any of our relationships. We're not bringing our full self into paying attention to what our body might be wanting to tell us. So, this whole thing of inner calmness and using the breath to bring calm, refocus the attention to mind, body, and surroundings. Oh, and holding that with an attitude of kindness and curiosity, not being mean to yourself, not being judgmental, but just taking that breath. I call it take 2 steps back. So what that does is it helps us not be reactive. "Ah!" Eh, eh, Just take 2 steps back and decide how you want to respond. What is said is that between the stimulus and response, there is a space. And therein lies our power to choose. Choose how we're going to respond. So, back to your original question, Robin, my journey was really about me taking hold of my attention. Where am I going to put my life energy at any given moment? And how do I really want to respond? And if in the sacred text it's telling me to be still, it's telling me to have peace, then what are the keys and the tools to have the stillness and have the peace? Because it's inside of that. That's where I access more power. That's where I can access information. That's where I can access my imagination and intuition. That's where I can get my more strength when there is calmness. You know, there's a wonderful phrase that says, the great cargoes in life come in over quiet seas. So you know the great big cargo ships, they don't come into the port when the sea is choppy. They stay way, way out until the sea is calm. And when it's calm, then the great big cargo ships come into the port. Well, it's the same thing with us. The great big things in life, we cannot hold and manage if our inner sea is choppy and chaotic. We can hold it, we can manage it better if there is calmness. And so that's what set me on my journey is my own need to quiet down, my own need to say, okay, if this is what the sacred text is telling me, how then do I do that? And I found it through mindful practice.
So how does I have some questions I would like to ask you. What how well, I have a few questions. First, I'm trying to say, what is mindfulness? I think you answered that, right? That's a question I have
I
for
can add
you.
a little more because, as I said, mindfulness is being present. So it's not having your attention go 50 million places. It's being able to, somebody's talking to you, so you can actually have some mindful listening. You can hear what they're saying. You can even hear so deeply that you can hear what they're feeling, right?
Mm,
It's not just what they say, but it's what's the feeling that comes with it. Sometimes I say to people, I heard you say X, Y,
mhm,
and Z, and then I'll say, and I heard you feel. And people are
mm,
like, whoa, she was really listening to me.
mhm,
So the whole thing of mindfulness is being able to be present. And the way that we develop that ability, it's like developing a muscle. The way we develop the ability to be more mindful, to be more present, is with quiet sitting. It's with meditation. It's been sitting quietly and focusing your attention on your breath, watching the breath, inhale, exhale. Your mind is going to wander because that's just natural, and learning to bring your mind back to the breath. Sitting 2 minutes, 3 minutes, build it up 5 minutes, 10 minutes. There are a lot of apps on our phones that can take us through some exercises to help us build this ability, this muscle of focused attention. That's mindfulness, is about focused attention. And so that's how we build it, through quiet sitting. When the word says be still, that's what it's asking us to do. Be still. And what? Know. How are you knowing? By being quiet. So
Mm,
that with mindfulness. It is ancient in practice. It's very, very old. It's not new. It's from the
mhm,
beginning of time.
mhm,
Mindfulness is the first medicine. Just learning how to be,
mhm.
how to still yourself and be quiet is the first medicine.
Wow. So what is happening to the body when we're stressed? What is happening when I'm stressed, when my body is stressed?
So when we're stressed, what's happening is the body is being flooded with hormones, cortisol, adrenaline. It's being flooded. So our pupils are dilating. If we're eating anything, we stop digesting because the body is like, we got to get ready to do something. Fight, flight, freeze.
Mhm,
We got to be on guard. Parts of the brain that should be working together, they disconnect. And what takes over is the brain's primitive response, the part of the brain that is always scanning for safety, that says, you're not safe, hold on. And then that's what we see. We see people just, we say, going off, or we say somebody flipped their lid. The prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for that, for judgment and wise decision and control, the part of the brain that's more primitive takes over. And that's what's happening in our bodies. The heart's beating faster. And you see sometimes people will they just go into fight immediately.
mhm,
That's what's happening in the system. The system
mhm,
is being flooded, and there's an energy that's anxious. And
mhm,
often what happens is, if you're in real danger, you do want your body to go in gear to help you to move out of the way. But what tends to be the case is that we're living at these high levels of, flooded with adrenaline and cortisol. We're living at these high levels. So at the slightest provocation, blah, we're blowing up. So
mhm,
that's what's happening to the body, and it's called wear and tear. It's
mhm.
wearing on our system. And chronic stress is the culprit for is what's underneath most chronic diseases.
Wow. How can mindfulness help stress?
Well, what mindfulness does, remember, you take that breath, begins to tell the body, stop, take a breath, observe, step back. I say P. The P is pray or proceed mindfully. You have a chance to pull yourself together. You're in the store, someone comes behind you and they push you, and you just want to turn around. Instead of doing that, you stop, take a breath, bring the body, bring everything together. Then you turn around and the person says, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Right? you, and you avoid the whole thing. You avoid the whole thing. Or you say, oh, you stepped on me. And they say, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't notice. Oh, excuse me. You give a little space. So the way mindfulness, quiet sitting with a focus on mindful breathing, helps the body to calm down and gives us greater access to all of our inner resources. And that's what we want to have. There's some good science behind this actually.
Tell me all about that.
Well, the
What is
science is this. It's called neuroplasticity. I love this. What it's telling us is that the brain is malleable. The brain can change its function and its shape based on what we think, what we do, and what we pay attention to consistently. We are always firing off these neurons and they wire together and they form a way of being. Like I have a, a neuron trail called driving a car. I learned how to drive a car, I practiced, and now I can just do it. I grab my car keys, I go outside, I get in the car. I don't even, it seems like I'm not even thinking about it. Why? Because I have a neural pathway that says driving a car. Because I've thought about it, I've done it, and I've done it so many times, I just know how to do it. Well, if you think about this regarding how we think about people, how we think about certain situations, we have these little pathways called, I'm always annoyed. Every time I see, always the pathway. You don't even, now it just becomes, it's called autopilot. You don't even think about it. So
mm-hmm.
the science of neuroplasticity says, hey, did you know you can change your brain? Did you know you don't have to be a slave to these ways of thinking and being that actually don't serve you, that actually are causing you to fill up with all these stress hormones? You actually could change your brain by thinking and doing something differently, but
Wow.
doing it consistently. That's why the quiet sitting done regularly every
Mm-hmm.
day, not a lot of time, but if the key is in the consistency, you do it every day. That's what will help build in your brain that calming response. So your body, in the midst of the trigger, recognizes, oh, wait a minute, we know how to be calm. Pull it on
Mm-hmm.
back, sis. Come on now, pull it on back. Don't
Oh,
give away, don't give away all your energy and all your life force, baby. Pull it on back. Okay. Now, how do you really want to deal with this situation, right? So that's why that's the science behind it. What we think,
mm-hmm.
what we do, what we pay attention to with consistency builds pathways in the brain. And the good news is that we used to say, "Oh, you can't teach an old dog new tricks." That is not true. No matter how old you are, you can learn new things. It's just do you have the desire and the will to do that? But you can learn new things at any age.
How can I practice every day? How can I practice mindfulness every day?
Okay, this is so simple. Sitting in a comfortable position, upright but relaxed, dropping your gaze or closing your eyes. I sit like in the same seat every day. Like I have a little love seat that I just like to go to and I sit there, right? Bring my tea or my coffee and I just sit. And then you just connect to the breath, breathing slow and deep. And your mind is going to wander. It's natural. A lot of people say, I can't meditate because I can't make my mind be still. That's not what's going to happen. You're going to grow this ability to calm yourself. But your mind's going to wander. You're going to think, ooh, did I take the chicken out of the freezer? Ooh, I wonder what's on sale at, the store, whatever you think, right? Did I lock the car? Your mind's going to wander. And then you go, oh, wandering, come back. Not with any kind of judgment on yourself. You just say, I notice. It's called meta attention. I'm learning to pay attention to how I'm paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
So simply sit, set a timer, start with 3 minutes, build it up to 5 minutes, and sit quietly and just breathe. Focusing my attention on the breath, watching the breath come in and out, noticing where it's maybe where it's coolest. Does it get stuck anywhere? How does it come through? Sitting quietly and breathing. You know, I lived in the South for a little bit. I lived in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and every Sunday we would take these wonderful walks and we would see our elders out on their porch, sitting quietly, rocking,
Mhm. Mhm.
not talking,
Mhm.
just sitting quietly. That's a mindful practice that we have in our culture. And
Mhm.
I'd walk by and they'd say, "Hey baby, how you doing?" "I'm fine, ma'am. How are you? What you cooking for dinner tonight?" And then I say, "I'm making some chicken, I'm whatever, making some beans." And then we keep going. And then they go back to their quiet sitting, sitting in the quiet countryside, rocking and being still. We have this in our culture, but moving into our urban life, we often forget about the the practice of sitting quietly. My family is from the Caribbean, they do the same thing. My aunt will say, "Let's go out to the sea and take a sea bath." And I was like, "Wow, what's a sea bath?" And you just go out to the part of the ocean that's very still and you just sit in the water and you let the warm ocean water, just that wonderful salt water, just cover you, and you relax and you be still. Sit down, be still, be quiet.
I know, right? We've been told this. We've been told this a lot in our life, but it's one of those practices that we just want to run from, right? Like, be still, be quiet is what our parents and grandparents, and as you say, we've been taught this in our culture, but in the Bible teaches that, and like you said, in the Word, and it's written, be still and know.
And the knowing does not come out with a lot of activity. The deep knowing in life comes in the stillness and the quiet. So learning how to do that. So building up that muscle of learning how to be still, sitting upright,
Mm-hmm.
relaxed but alert,
Mm-hmm.
breathing, set a timer. Every time you sit, it may feel a little different. Some days it just feels like, "Oh, I'm in it." And other days you're a little more distracted. But remember, it's what you do consistently. That's what helps. And so that's how we build that mindful practice. Now, there's also other ways to be mindful that's called integrating, where you integrate it into your life, like the one I just told you, STOP. You stop, take a breath, observe what's going on around you. Say a prayer, that's the P, or proceed mindfully. Just
Mm.
proceed mindfully. So STOP, stop, take a breath, because remember, the breath is what's going to metabolize the stress. Observe what's happening to me in mind, body, and around me. Take it in. Lord, help. Or, oh, okay, I know what to do. And
Mhm.
move forward. You just give yourself a chance to collect yourself. So you're not always, this is how you can respond to a trigger. Another way, another beautiful integrated practice, I call it, it's 3 breaths. You take a breath, breath one. Second breath, you say, relax the body. Third breath, you ask yourself the question, what is important now? And let that answer come to you. Not the next 50 things, just the next thing. Like, oh, I'm just going to take a sip of water. That's what's important now.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to write that thank you note. I didn't do, something that you may have fell off your radar might come back to you. But that's called 3 breaths. So you take a breath, second breath, you relax the body, and then you ask the question, what is important now? And you let that come to mind.
Mm.
So those are two what's called integrated practices or on the go. So the STOP or the 3 breaths. Stop, take a breath, right? Observe, and then proceed mindfully. Or the other one is first breath, take a breath, relax the body, and then What's important now? Sometimes when work seems hectic or you're feeling overwhelmed, you're coming in and you have to cook, you got kids doing homework, whatever. Lord, I'm so glad I'm not doing that anymore. But bless y'all who's still doing that. There's gonna come a day when y'all ain't doing that no more.
Amen. Amen. You do.
Hang in there. Hang in there and do this breathing that I'm telling you about to give yourself a little more space.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is literally physically give yourself space. I have a wonderful friend, and her children are older now, and she was parenting alone for many years. And when she would come home from work, she said, she told her children, I need a certain amount of time. She actually took 30 minutes. You figure out how much time you need. And she said, nobody come to my door unless you're breathing, if somebody's bleeding or throwing up. Otherwise, I need this 30 minutes. And she'd go in her room and get herself together. Maybe she'd take a shower, change her clothes. And she says, when I come out of my room, I am all yours. Homework, dinner, I got to bake cookies for the next day, whatever you need, you got me. But she understood that in order to be her best for her children, she needed to replenish and restore. And that's a lot of times we don't do it. We just keep going. And actually, what then happens is we're activated and we're over adrenalized, which is terrible, terrible for women, especially. And we're not giving our best. And we're resentful and we anger more easily rather than taking that time, regrouping, restoring, taking those few minutes, that 10 minutes, and just replenishing, changing your clothes, and then giving yourself a transition between your activities. That's another way to be mindful, is to center yourself. Life is a gift, and the gift God gave you is to you. It's your gift. Now we have other people in our lives, the people that we love, our families, friends, children, but the gift of life that's inside of your body actually belongs to you. And it's your responsibility to take care of it. And then to figure out, how do I take this gift and have it be in relationship to the other people in my life that I care about. So I'm writing you a permission slip today, everybody. Everybody get a permission slip. A permission slip to stop, take a breath,
Yes.
take steps back, breathe, replenish, and restore so that you can really be present for the life that you want to live. And then, how about this? Create the life that you want to live. You cannot create it if you are constantly running and ripping and on the go and not taking that time. And mindful practice is a way to do that.
Awesome. So tell me, why is it important to have joy? You had said something
Ooh,
about you create your own life, and so we're going to talk about why is joy important if you're creating your own life. Can you shed some light
yes,
to our listeners on that?
because joy is your birthright and joy is fuel. It's like when you pour the champagne and all the bubbles are at the top, and it's like, ah, that's joy. Joy is your birthright.
Mhm.
It's your birthright. But it has to be taken care of and it has to be cultivated. So you see, it's very natural in children, but somehow when we keep living our lives and getting into this society, uh, you know, we're distracted, we're pressured to do certain things. We can, and also a certain amount of pleasure can be pressure too. So, but joy is really about, how do I keep the inner effervescence, the inner bubbles of life happening? And you need that because you cannot be in the realm of the miraculous or the realm of manifesting great things if you are always wound up, triggered, despondent, discontent, discouraged, the lower end of the emotional guidance scale. does not bring us health and well-being. It brings us down because those emotions at that lower end are depleting. They actually deplete your energy. And what joy does, joy fuels your energy. So some of the ways that you want to fuel your energy with joy is one, here's some homework. Keep a gratitude journal. We need, it's a need. It's not even like a, oh, that would be nice. We need to be thankful. Thankfulness, what gratitude does is it helps us to shift our vision because complaining and gratitude can't exist in the same room. When we're complaining, we're missing, well, what is actually going right here? What actually is working? What actually am I thankful for? And it could be the simplest of things, that hot cup of coffee in the morning, my warm shower, my warm covers at night. Make your list and you will find that the things grow and grow. That clerk that's always so nice to me, you know, oh, how the bus driver stopped and waited for me, you know, how somebody, I was driving the other day and somebody, he saw me coming behind him and he waited and he held the parking space for me. He held it open. And then when I got there, then he drove away and he pointed, go there, go there. How random acts of kindness that you will begin to notice. And guess what? More will begin to happen. Why? Because you're beginning what? A neural pathway called gratitude, called kindness, and more because it's an energy. You begin to generate an energetic that becomes an energetic match for more of the same to come your way. We are energetic beings. We are made of electricity. The heart itself has a vibration, has an electromagnetic current that goes 4 feet out from the body. So that's why the joy is important. And also because you want to take care of your heart, which is the seat of where all life is generated from. So, how you do that? One, gratitude. Stay thankful. Look around. Sometimes we go to these jobs and we are full of complaining. Well, baby, I'm gonna tell you, I'm thankful for the check at the end of the week or whatever. Find the things that you can just focus your attention. Remember what we started around out with mindfulness. It's focused attention. Where your focus is, where your attention goes, that's where your energy goes. And if your energy is on things that are really uh draining, that's what happens to your energy. So to keep joy alive, because it's what helps keeps us alive, you want to have gratitude. You also want to have social connection. We're coming out of this whole thing of shelter in place, and I called it shelter in peace. Watch your words. Like, I did not say lockdown. No, baby. This is a shelter in peace.
Oh, I
So
love it. I love it.
yeah, words are containers for meaning. What are you giving your life meaning? I'm in a lockdown. Nah. I'm in a shelter in peace and I'm gonna work it out. And that's what we're doing here. And I made black eyed peas and I did all kinds of good stuff and I worked from home. But no, we're sheltering in peace.
I
We're
love
having patience to wait something out until we know what is the next step. And that's how mindfulness also helps you. But the joy is gratitude, social connection. You don't have to have a whole lot of people, but be connected in some meaningful relationships. The other thing that helps mine your joy and keep your joy whole is forgiveness,
it.
not holding grudges. It doesn't mean that uh, you don't have a reason to feel hurt or betrayed or any of the things that happened. But it means what you're doing is you're letting go of a desire for revenge and you're letting go of the resentment and you're saying, okay, that happened to me. Where can I go from here? How can I take, how can I live well in the aftermath?
Mm,
Living well in the aftermath. The other thing that builds our joy is movement, baby. Movement is medicine. When
mm,
we did, you know how we used to do the day, put on the music? Saturday, everybody played music and clean the house, and Soul Train was coming on. Move your body. Movement is medicine because
mhm,
movement also builds those happy hormones. Contrary to the stress hormones, movement builds in the endorphins that make your body feel happier. Movement. And the other thing that actually helps you cultivate joy is mindfulness. You know, the research tells us that mindful people are less anxious. They have better health outcomes. So you want to just cultivate that joy in your life. It's your birthright. We come into the world with it. Babies show us that all the time. And what our job is when we continue to get older is to take care of it, to let it bubble up, because it's where joy, love, and freedom and appreciation live on the upper registers of the emotional guidance scale. That's where good living is, baby. That's where good living is.
mhm.
It doesn't mean that we don't have a full human experience, that sometimes we're grieving, that sometimes there is just pain, like Frankie Beverly told us, joy and pain, sunshine and rain,
Yeah.
right? One coin, two sides. But I love this quote from Maya Angelou. She says, um, every storm runs out of rain. So trouble don't last always, right? We know these things.
That's right.
So it doesn't mean that you can't go to the depth of having that sense of hurt, of despair. But what we do is we use these things. We use acts of kindness to others. We use movement. We use gratitude. We go into our relationships, and we help and we minister to ourselves so that we can move through that. Because we're not meant to live in the down. We're not
Mhm,
meant to be there. We experience it, but we're not meant to stay. And depending on the thing that happens, sometimes it lasts longer, depending on the circumstance. But our role and our job is to seek the encouragement and the comfort to move us through so that we can move to the higher ground again.
mhm. Yes, that's some good stuff. I'm telling you, I'm feeling mindful and more inner calm by having this interview with you today. I hope our listeners, do you have any questions, listeners out there that may be watching by Facebook, YouTube, or listeners that want to call in today? You can call in if you have any questions for Janae on mindfulness and how she teaches on practicing mindfulness, and did anything resonate with you all today. So please, we welcome any questions and call-ins right now. And I also wanted to say, you had said something about the importance of joy, that's the birthright, and how we sometimes forget that we have birthrights. And how do people get this? How do they? We might have a question coming. How would you tell them to remind themselves of their birthright?
Well, I think the first thing is, I in traditional mindfulness, how it's taught like out in the world, it's definitely a beautiful practice, and it's taught um, to honor and have compassion for yourself, be
Mm,
tender with yourself. Part of the
mm,
reason why we miss the mark is because we have a very mean inner critic, you know, or we're looking for perfection.
mm,
So part of the way to remember is to remember that we are human beings and we have a range of ways of being. And
Mm,
we have had things that have happened to us. That's the I teach trauma also. That's the trauma question. The trauma question is not what's wrong with y'all. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? The trauma question is what has happened?
mhm. That's
So
right.
it's being mindful of what has happened and hold that with kindness. Remember, mindfulness is being present in mind, body, and surroundings and holding it with an attitude of kindness and curiosity. So the first place is to stop and say, am I being kind? Not out there, but over here to myself. And
Mm,
it's
I
to
love.
remember the kindness and the compassion that you need to show yourself. You cannot give what you don't have. So often we hear something juicy and good, and we want to right away go tell somebody else what to do. I want y'all not to do that today. Today, I want you to take all this in for you. This is for you. Start with you. So that's the first thing is to tend to your own heart. And as I said at the beginning, I have a spiritual practice. So I believe in a higher power. I believe in the creator, in the source, in God, the all knowing, the infinite, whatever people want to call that entity, that spirit. I think part of it is to remember that we are a fractal, an expression of something that is bigger than us and something whose very nature is love. So the
Mm,
question that becomes is how loving are you to yourself?
mm. I
Not to them out there,
mhm, mhm.
to you. And
I
a lot of
love.
times you'll find that, ooh, I am not very nice to myself. Let me just hold up a minute. So another homework assignment is I want you to do something nice for yourself tonight. Cook yourself
Mm,
something good, take yourself to bed early, take a nice
mm.
bath or warm shower, slow down and lotion up slow. Sisters, I want you to put some perfume on before you go to bed. It's not just for the morning. Go to bed smelling nice. Not for whoever's with you, but for you.
Oh,
Everything I'm saying to you tonight is for you. We can work with the other people when I come back.
okay.
Tonight's for you. Tonight's
Oh
for
my
you.
greatness. I love what you just gave the homework assignment. I love homework, and definitely my mission is on this show is to teach people how to love themselves. I was just sitting with myself yesterday. I had an interview on Instagram, and she talked to me about my self-care love walk. And I said, I have that. That's my mission and purpose in life is to empower people to love themselves first. Everyone that's listening or viewing us today, I love it, Janae, because I think that is definitely the core when we learn to value ourselves and be more compassionate with ourselves first. And I know it sounds selfish to some of us when we think of that, but we definitely need to practice it because when we're kinder to ourselves, I notice when I'm kinder to myself, I'm kinder to others as well. So thank you. I definitely am learned so much today and I can't wait to go practice it tonight. I hope the listeners are eager to. And also I wanted to just take a minute to I meant to in the beginning of the show, Janae. Thank you for all the stuff you shared with us tonight. And Janae is coming back for next week, so you can call in, you can text in some questions for next week if you want to know more. We're gonna dig some more into mindfulness next week, but I definitely wanted to also shout out my sponsors. I got so excited inviting you and introducing you, Janae, that I meant to mention our sponsor at the beginning of the show, which is one of my favorite sponsors, Shay Me Down Handmade Body Butter. And you can find that there on Facebook. There is the information, or you can email Shay Me Down at 06 at Gmail. And it's one of my favorite body butters. It's homemade, has great flavors. One of my fragrance is lavender. And so definitely, if you're having dry skin challenges, check out Shake Me Down. And then I also, Janae, you said words. And that's another thing, we are Vanguard sisters and we're kindred sisters. And I'm so honored to know you. I'm so grateful that we are connected. And one of the things you mentioned was I here have a word every week with the viewers, and it's called "What Did RFD Say?" it's my 90-day challenge for myself. I'm learning words, pronouncing them better, and also learning to just add more words to my vocabulary. And hold on just a second, guys. I'm trying to figure out my Zoom here. The word is going to be resilient, and what it means. If I can get it to come on my screen, guys, hold on. Resilient is the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, and threats. And that's what RFD said today is what is resilient. And some of us listeners, especially women, we have faced adversity, trauma, and threats, and we have been resilient. And one of the things I find that helps me in those trauma you mentioned, we'll talk more about trauma and tragedies and how to become resilient. The word for today, it's definitely I've been practicing mindfulness for almost 7 years, and it has, because I used to be a fight to flight woman. I would always be in fight to flight. I was always fearful, always feeling unloved, and always feeling like I wasn't enough. And but mindfulness is a great practice, so I do suggest to the listeners to practice some of the things that you heard today, and you too will feel a difference. I remember once I got to like my second, third month of mindfulness, and I was like, whoa, my mind is not all over the place, and I can remember stuff better, and I can get stuff done, and I feel better in my skin. So thank you, my sister, for being such a leader, teaching us to create resilience in our life and how to be a better version of ourselves. So do you
Absolutely.
have
It's my
tell our
pleasure.
guests before we wrap up how again they can get in contact with you and also follow up with you if they want to meet with you before next week? On Monday of next week we'll be doing part two, so definitely want to invite you all to share, tell friends, and come on again to this page here on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube, and you also definitely want to come and find us at the Mighty 1470 AM WVOL, definitely here in Nashville. Even though we love you out there in Memphis, but we are in Nashville. We are in the center of everything, making things happening in the center of Tennessee, and we are the center location. So thank you, Janae. Tell the guests how they can contact you or reach out to you for more assistance with mindfulness, if you don't mind telling us more about that.
Sure, sure. On the screen, my last name is spelt wrong, but it's Janae
Oh,
Johnson, Johnsson. So it's JanaeJohnson.com. That's my website.
me and my
And
typo. I have to start doing these at night.
it's
Sorry,
all
go ahead.
good because but you can go to www.Jenee, Johnson, JOHNSON.com and learn more about what I do. And next week, we can talk more about resilience and we can talk more about trauma and how we use mindfulness to support us in these times that can be very triggering. So I'm really looking forward to continuing and deepening the conversation. But in the meantime, y'all have some homework. Uh, Gratitude, keep a gratitude journal, get a really pretty journal and start writing your gratitudes. Just write a few every day. You could do it at the top of the day in the morning, or even like keep it by your bedside at night. What am I grateful for today? And that way you can go to sleep on the note of what happened. And even you could be grateful for lessons. What did I learn today that I'm thankful for? um, the people in your life, the things and how your kids and your family members growing and overcoming. There's so many things to just really be taking a look and taking in the good and capturing that in a gratitude journal. and doing something good for yourself tonight. That's your homework, also your life work. I saw you have the Shave Me Down butter. You need to get some of that this week and just rub it all over your body and moisturize. We're well into the fall. You know, we're going to be moving into winter. This is the time to kind of move in and start doing things on the inward. So do something well for yourself. Definitely stay with gratitude and remember your breath. Deep breath. Let it metabolize the stress. Do simple integrated practices. Breath in, stop, take a breath, observe, and then proceed mindfully. Or observe and pray. Send up a desire, a petition, a request, and ask for some knowledge, for some help. So I gave you a lot. Y'all have a lot to do.
I love all
It's
of our homework
simple, but it's
assignments.
simple.
Yes, it is simple. It sounds like it's going to be a fun evening for us to practice what we've learned here today with Janae Johnson at .com. Definitely follow up with her. Find her on all her social pages. She's on Facebook as well. You might want to find her there if you don't mind people finding you there. But yes, I
And
look
I'm on
forward to.
Instagram. Instagram's a great place too.
Yes, Instagram. I meant to look you up on Instagram because I follow you on Facebook, so I do apologize. I didn't put your
No
Instagram
worries.
information in, but yes, it's everything under Janae Johnson, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, yes, I am excited about my homework tonight. I look forward to practicing gratitude and doing something nice for myself today. It's been such a delight to have you here today, Janae. Is
Thank
there
you.
anything else that you want us, our listeners, to know before next week or to prepare for next week? Because we're going to come back next week, same time, 6 Central here in the greater Nashville. We're going to be at the Mighty 1470 WVOL. And I am excited. I'm your host, Robin F. David, but you all know me as RFD Talk. So come on every week, share with a friend, come back and bring us some questions. Call in. You can always call in on the phone. We always can use the telephone, people. And then definitely, if you want to be a guest, let me know. Inbox me. I'm looking for selected guests to inform our viewers and listeners. It's been such a delight to have you, Janae. I am just so honored. I just
Mm.
love you, girl. I love what you teach. I love what you represent, and I'm just grateful. And I
I am
just
so grateful for you too, Robin, and I love you and thank you for this platform that you have. It's a blessing for people and your generosity to share. So I look forward to joining you back next week.
all right, listeners. Well, that's it for today, guys. We're going to be wrapping it up, and we look forward to seeing you next week. I'm going to say to you, my beloved sister, you have a divine, peaceful, joyful night. I'm sending love and light to all of my subscribers, followers, community, friends, and family. I am Robin F. Davis, sending you love, light, and till next Monday, tune in. Don't want to miss next Monday. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Janae.
You're welcome.
I'll see you soon, sister. Have a good night.
Good night.
Love you.
Love you.
All right, listeners. We are excited that we have homework tonight, and we are mindful, and we're creating inner peace and more joy. So thank you for listening in today here to our show, and definitely want to remind you of the word of the week is resilient, and don't forget to tune in next week. All right, thank you guys.
WVOL, Berry Hill, Nashville. Well, don't you know I'm wondering? Look out.
Okay, good night. Okay, I was 1 minute